question we'll start with is when and where were you born?
I was born in Manning, Louisiana in 1952 and moved to DeRidder, Louisiana when I was 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I stayed until...
Later on.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So growing up as a child, what were you like as a kid?
Oh, I was very timid, very shy. Didn't like to speak up, you know. I didn't speak up for myself, you know. I was just shy, you know.
Shy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, moving on. So what would you say is your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory was when I made the honor roll.
Made the honor roll?
Yes.
How old were you?
I was in the 8th grade, so I had to be about 14.
14.
Yes.
Was that the first time you made it?
Yes, that was the first time I made
special.
it. Yeah, that was really special to me.
Nice.
Yes.
Let's see. How about they want to know a little bit about your parents. What did your parents do for a living?
Oh, my mother was a homemaker. And my father, he worked 32 years at an international paper company. You know, where they cured the trees and split them and made, you know, wood and stuff like that, yes.
Okay. And so next would be, how old were you when you were allowed to date?
I was 16, and it was a young man that my mother liked. Not so much, not so. Well, my father was a very laid back type of guy, you know. He didn't let a lot of things, you know, get next to him and stuff. But Dad was okay with it, but it was pretty much somebody that mom picked. My mother.
She picked them for you.
Yes, because we went to the same church.
Oh.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What was your first job?
My first job was a cashier. When I was 17, I worked at a military branch in Fort Polk, Louisiana. As a cashier, and then I helped wash dishes and buff tables.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And how old were you?
I was 17.
17. Okay. Let's see. What is one thing your daughters don't know about you that you would want for them to know?
Okay. One thing. That I've smoked cigarettes off and on for over 20 years.
Oh, and they don't know?
No, they don't know that part.
They're going to find out.
Yes, they'll find out real soon.
Oh.
I mean, they know I smoke, you know, off and on, but it's been like over 20 years,
20 years.
off and on.
Off and on.
Yes.
Okay. They want to know, how old were you when you left home?
I was 17 when I left home.
And where did you go?
I moved in a trailer with my, I moved into my oldest sister's house. And I, you know, babysit for her while she went to work after school.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
my senior year.
So back to that first time you were dating, they want to know, who was your first boyfriend? What was he like, and his name?
His name was Walter McKnight. Really, we only dated for about 3 months because he was trying to be controlling. You know, he was a.
You had to cut him off.
Yeah, I cut it off.
Did you end it?
Yes, I ended it. Yeah, because he wasn't the type of person that I really wanted to date. It, like I said, it was my mother's choice. you know, back during that time. You know,
Okay.
that's pretty much the way things went. Yeah.
Okay. How did both of our fathers and you meet, and what attracted you to them?
Well, with my oldest daughter, father, I met him through my brother-in-law at the time. Both of them was in the army. And they came to the house, and you know, I thought he was a nice-looking guy, cute, you know, and stuff.
Did you
So
make the first move?
No, he made the first move. Yes, he made the first move.
Okay.
And we dated for about roughly about, let me see, had to be not very long, from about April up until October, no, August, when I found out I was pregnant. Then he re-up in the military, and he moved back out to California.
I see.
Yes, and we lost touch up until 1974.
Oh, wow. Because he went to the military.
Yeah, well, he re-enlisted and he came to Monterey because he was Army.
How did you two reconnect?
He got in touch with my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law told him that, you know, I had been, you know, trying to find him and look for him and stuff. So he told me, you know, to come to California and, you know, see if we could work things out.
Yeah. And then, and then your other...
My second daughter?
Yes.
I met her father in the shipyard. We was welders. I was a welder in the shipyard for 25 years, and I met him in 1977. And you know, we started dating. And in 1981 was when I got pregnant with Rondalyn, and we dated for about 9 years, 9.5 years, got married in that 9.5 years, and I couldn't take stuff no more, so I filed for a divorce in the 10th year. But I never married my oldest daughter's father. We never got married. But when I came to California, you know, the family, they welcomed me with open arms and treated me as like I was one of their own.
That's nice.
And they still do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they still do, and I still love them too.
Yeah.
I don't have no animosity, no bad feelings about nobody. Things just happen, you know. And I mean, we all sometimes have to go our own separate ways. Yeah. And that also happened with my my second daughter's father. Yeah, things didn't work out, you know, with us, so we parted too.
Yep. Okay. Nicknames. Did you have any? If so, what were they, and who gave them to you, and why?
Okay. I had two nicknames. One was Nunu. I don't know who gave me that name, but my oldest brother, he used to call me Snowball because I was so dark, all you could see was my teeth.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I asked him as we got older, you know, why he would call me Snowball. And that's what he said. You were so dark, all we could see was your teeth. You know
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So those were the two nicknames that I had.
And did you give your brother a nickname?
No, I didn't. No, because it was like I couldn't be mean or bad or say bad, mean stuff to people for a long time. As a young person up until I guess my mid-20s was pretty much when I started to change. I started trying to speak up for myself and.
What made you make that change? Was it just life, or
yeah, just life,
like?
life in general. Yeah.
Change for the better.
Right, it was change for the better. Yeah. I kind of started noticing a change in myself. I was learning to speak up for myself. I was around people that, I noticed that spoke up for themselves. A lot of them wasn't negative, stuff. A lot of it was on the positive side. So I choose to pick the positive side to do anything, mostly anything, I'll say. Yep.
Nice. Okay. What was your experience like as a black female welder?
Oh, as a black female welder, I feel it was great because I met some old timers in the shipyard that, you know, they used the phrase, they took you under their wings and they showed you all the things that you needed to know how to do. And a lot of them I learned so well until they would take, they would remove a guy and put me in his place because they knew I was going to do the job right the first time. So that was a really good experience for me. It didn't go to my head. It was just that I was just interested. Plus, it paid well, you know. And you know, at that time, I had a kid that I had to, you know, look out for, take care of. And
did you have any struggles being a female in that industry, or being African American?
No.
No. Good. All right. Lastly, what has been your greatest accomplishment in life?
My greatest accomplishment in life was having two beautiful daughters. I raised them to my best ability. I taught them never to sit back and wait on somebody to give you something. Get out there and get it yourself. And that's pretty much what they did. And I am so proud. They accomplished it. Both of them went to medical school, even though they're not, you know, medical now, but they have very good jobs. And I'm just so proud of them. And you know, my grandkids too. I know you're asking about them, but I'm very proud of my children, my grandchildren, and my great grand. I have one of those too. One too. Yes, my greatest accomplishment was my two daughters born healthy. You know, I wanted a boy and a girl, but good Lord blessed me with two healthy daughters, and that's. I mean, you know, I can't say too much, you know, more than I'm very proud of them, you know, and I love them to death. Yeah.
Where were you born, and when did you move to Sac?
I was born in Oakland, California, 1963, September. Virgo's Rock. I came to Sacramento in 80, and 81 permanently.
81?
Yeah.
What made you come to Sacramento?
My sister was up here. She was going to school, and Oakland was a lot for me at that time, about 16, 17. So I think they brought me up here for, just wasn't working out down there. Kind of got in a lot of trouble, yeah. So I needed to just make a change.
Were you ready to move, or was it forced?
Yeah, it was cool. It wasn't forced. I have choices. I make my own decisions pretty much. But yeah, it was nice when I came over. It was beautiful, so I didn't mind staying. Oakland was beautiful too, but it was just a lot being a teenager for me at that time. That's all. So.
And you recognized that you needed to leave that environment? At that age, did you realize it?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, sure. Okay. We want to know, or they want to know, about your siblings. And they want to know what type of relationship did you have with each one of them growing up?
So, okay. I had a great relationship because I was the baby, the youngest, so I pretty much had it my way. I really did. They were great.
Have it your way?
I still have it my way. I do. And They're all amazing, beautiful. I swear, from my brothers to my sisters, my mother, my dad. I say stepmother and people because of just because that's what it is, but it's not. For me, it's just all family.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. I had it my way. Probably shouldn't have gave me my way. Made me a bit of a brat. So, but yeah, it was good. I still have great relationships with all of them, as far as I know. Did they
So
tell
tell
you
me
something
about
different?
Oh,
Oh,
each
so
sibling and what you value from that relationship.
a lot of it was only two of them, Vicky, my sister, and Kathy, probably were really just the key to. They were my go-tos. They were my go-tos, you know. But the other ones, my brothers. I have 5 brothers.
Okay.
And I met 2 of them later in life when I was about 16, before I left and came up here 15. And so, yeah, Jeff and Ken, man, all my cousins, I was just learning and meeting them, and they were just learning to meet me. But they're just my protectors. They always gave me good advice. They literally had my back and would die for me, and damn near killed for me. I didn't ask them to. In fact, I wouldn't tell them things because I didn't want to.
Because you knew.
I didn't want to put them in that position. Yeah, because pretty much I can handle myself to a degree. But
Was there ever a time that they were in that position?
often, I often had a lot of people in my life, and my mouth's a little slick, and my hands are a little quick. So you know, I did things that probably provoked, if you will. But yeah, Jeff, Ken, all of them, Bobby, Johnny, Mikey, Robert, John, and Michael. I call him the other one. So yeah, I was kind of close to my, because it was the girls first, and then the boys, then me. So that's how that went, you know. So I've always been a bit of a tomboy, so I liked hanging out with them. So all of them taught me how to fish. I worked with them. We painted houses with Daddy, and I mean, just everything. Taught me how to cook. A lot of things.
Your sisters?
My brothers.
Your brothers?
Yeah, my sisters did as I got older. They did. Vicky and Kathy the most. I have other sisters. Stella passed when I was young.
How old were you?
I'd say about 10 or so. Her and my grandmother, and then I remember her growing up with her because she has a son my age. I'm the oldest of all the nieces and nephews, just so you know, so I'm still the boss. But I have other nieces and nephews who are close to me. I'm 55, they might be 54, 53, and what have you. So she passed very young, and then...
Did that affect you? Were you...
It did, but I didn't understand it. They didn't really teach me about death and dying. It was just she was gone, and a lot of things they didn't tell me. A lot of things they just didn't tell me. So I think a lot of things maybe it was too much. Maybe back then you just didn't tell kids a lot. You know what I mean?
They would have told you?
I don't know. I know now. I don't know if I wish then, but I understand now. I ask a lot of questions, so I kind of understand now.
You understand now.
So yeah. So but then the oldest sister, Ruthie. She was gone early, so a lot of them were gone out of my house early. The women left very early. It was pretty much me and Kathy until I met Vicky. You know, so then, you know, then they kind of traded places. Here, you take her.
And how old were you when you met Vicky?
15. She was the first one I met of my father's.
How did you meet her?
She called me. Well, I called my dad. Well, we have different stories, but I remember.
We want the correct.
Yeah, well, in my mind, it might not be the correct story, but in my mind, I called my dad. I used to tell stories, lie on her. Somebody would braid my hair, and I'd be like, my sister did it on my dad's side, you know, because you know, I would embellish it, but in my mind, she would do that for me, and I'm sure if we had been around each other, she would have. I know that, you know. So yeah, I called him. I said I want to meet my brothers and sisters, and my mom told me I had brothers and sisters, and he said okay, and he sent Vicky, and she took me to church. Well, with Dad, but she took the first move with Dad too, but I didn't know how it went with her.
What's going on with her?
Yeah, so she took me and embraced me and has loved me ever since. Yeah, just. Awesome, you're right.
Play a role in my great childhood.
Y'all got me crying and stuff. Look, I am not a punk. Okay.
Okay, so back to this childhood. They want to know, what was your first job? How old were you when you had it?
I worked at a Muslim bakery on Foothill in Fairfax.
Oh, wow.
I sold bean pies. I made bean pies. And it was
Do you
in
still make
Oakland.
bean pies?
Hell no, you know, I eat sweet potato pie. Hell, I don't eat no pie. I don't need no pie. Look at me. But no, I worked there, and that was in high school. It was like a high school to go to work thing. And Ronnie was my boss, and his wife worked next door at Chocolate City. She did hair. I guess she owned the shop in here on the Muslim bakery. And it was cool. I just, it was good. I used to deliver pies to San Francisco, just wrap them up. He made them. I mean, you know, but I helped. I don't know what I did. I don't know. I did something. But I was there every day. I got paid, so that's all, you know.
How long did you work there?
Not long. But anyway, that's what I did.
What type of car? You said you were delivering bean pies. Was that your first car?
No, I didn't. He drove, and I just went with him. He drove. He would take me, so that I wasn't driving yet. I didn't have a license yet till I turned 18. So no, I was still in Oakland. So no, he would drive us and teach me, so that one day I could. You know, he was just showing me the ropes, and I didn't mind. I loved it. Went to San Francisco, went all around. One of the smaller places, but it was still good. You know, he was a hard worker. Made me want to become an entrepreneur. It didn't really work, but I seen how people work for themselves, and I loved it.
Is that what your biggest lesson you got from that first job?
Yeah, that, and yeah. Well, I've worked always. I always watched my nieces and nephews. I kind of babysat, and I was kind of responsible in my mind. I just did some irresponsible things, but other than that, yeah.
Yep. So your first car, you said you got your license when you turned 18. When did you get your first car?
Camaro, my sister. It was a 69 two-door Chevy Camaro. I still love Chevys.
You got it yourself?
So who? My sister, Kathy.
Your sister.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It was beautiful. It was blue, and it was diamond tops. Oh, it was proper. It was nice. It was cool.
At 18?
And I was here in Sacramento at that time, though. I came here, so yeah.
Wow.
I was going to college, and then I was, had that car.
Okay. So in school, what type of kids did you hang out with? And do you recall having a best friend? And if so, who was it and what were they like?
Yep, I hung out. I knew a lot of people, but I only hung out pretty much in elementary school, the neighborhood. You know, we did it that way. Lived in some apartments on 28th Avenue. And about 11 units in that building, and all kind of friends, just diverse. Junior high school, Jackie Hutton. And yes, she is still my best friend to this day.
Really?
She is, in fact, Bobby Hutton's daughter. Do you know who he is?
I do not.
He's with the
Who's
Black
that?
Panther
Oh, wow.
movement. Yes, exactly. That's where I grew up, down the street from Black Panthers in 69th Street Village.
So
in the
you went to see
village.
the movie?
Nope.
You didn't see the movie?
I just haven't had a chance. So I just wanted to do it with, but Break and babies, the grandbabies. And no, I'm still looking forward to it. Now, I'm not a go to the movies
Type of person.
I like a drive-in, so now that it's warmer, I'll do that. It's still in there, so yeah.
So, growing up, they want to know, how was it growing up as a light-skinned biracial woman during your era?
It was interesting, not so interesting. It was ugly and interesting, and yeah, you know, that part where you don't fit in. You have this white family who don't like black people, and then you got this black family who don't like white people, and you got to sit and listen to it. But I didn't. I just asked them to stop, because I'm not, you know, just it's your opinion. You're entitled to it, but I'm not. I get it. I get everybody's point of view. I get what some white people may have learned and been taught earlier in their life. And in fact, my mother was shunned for having me.
Was she?
From her family, yeah. And my brothers, 2 of my brothers. So yeah. So it was real. It was real. I'm living in the projects. There was only 7 white families. And when Martin Luther King died, we had to leave. All the women and children were raped. They tied up this one family and raped 3 of their daughters. And I would come home I see my mom beat up because she was just a white lady. You know, they just literally just beat her. And I come home, and so it was ugly. It was very, so do I hate anybody? I don't know that I don't hate, but I don't have a lot of good memories, but I have a lot of great memories at the same time. I seen the BART being built in Oakland, you know, just a lot of things. I was in the 60s, so I was in the Village is where I grew up, and went to Lockwood. And literally the day that Martin died, I remember the babysitter, my mom worked a lot. She sent her 2 sons to get me from school. They were an Italian family. And they ran me home. My feet never touched the ground.
Your brothers?
These were the babysitters' children. My brothers were there already. I don't know how. They were just gathering up all. There were some. I have one all-white brother, Bobby, who's no longer with us. And I used to see him fight every day in the projects. But I used to be sitting up there as a little girl watching it. But he never got whooped. He could hang. He could hang. He was getting jumped. And he's the one who taught me how to fight. Literally taught me how to fight for real. So he's like, and I learned I just learned how to just be a little defensive and just pick my battles.
Is that where that defensiveness, hard shell comes from?
I'm pretty sure a lot of that is, it could be that. I mean, it could be from so many things. My life, just what I've done throughout my life. So what I've learned from that is that everybody has issues, and I ain't really seen it get no better. They're still, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a black man or a white man or a man at all. So I have to really open my eyes and look how they may have been taught, or what they learned, or what their parents learned. I mean, I get it, but I also get that I don't see change, but I also keep hope. And I know God's got other things in store, and I guess he's given me a very big heart, because I don't hold grudges. I just try to learn something from each experience.
Do you notice, or have you experienced any differences in being a biracial woman when you were younger versus being a biracial woman now?
Yeah, it's probably, kids tease. Grown people know what they're doing. Kids is not learned yet. It's all learned. But yeah, I mean, I can go somewhere I'm a little too light. And I have definitely experienced it. Just one chick at a party, she just had a problem. I was like, what's your problem? You just think, I said, I don't think I'm better than you. You think I'm better than you. And at this point, I do too now, because you're just ignorant. So I don't mind checking people real hard, not fast and not slow. It's not a problem, because I'm not going to not just let you do me whatever you think you. It's just not going to happen unless you know, I can walk, what they say, walk away and fight another day. I'm going to see you again. That part. But no, I don't just walk in, but I get it all the time. I still get it. I can go anywhere. I mean, yeah, but that's their problem. I ain't gonna let them make it mine. You know, I'm big enough and smart enough now. But then it used to hurt, but because it didn't feel good, never fitting in anywhere. And I know that's a cliche. I didn't fit in here, I didn't fit in, but it's real. It's real. You're too dark, and you light skinned. Like, I got all this hair. Yeah, nigga, I got hair. What okay, we're different. Do you different? Do you know that? Yeah. I mean, and that's what it is, and somebody needs to put them up on game. But if they don't, I will. If they approach me, it's not a problem. I give them what I know, and they can take it or leave it. Doesn't matter.
So, when did you meet your children's father?
Oh, child.
How old were you?
Probably Jerry, on one of them visits up to Sacramento in 80. In fact, I was dating his brother. We didn't date. I just met his brother first.
Wait, you saying you were dating his brother first?
Well, I had an interest in him. I liked older men. You know, I still do. You know, because most of the young men just couldn't hang, in my mind. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so no, Artist, he was a good friend. He was just a good person. We were just friends. We just all hung out. And I hooked Jerry up, Tina's dad, with my girlfriend, Shalois, who I met in high school. I didn't mention her. She's still a friend. Somebody I love. I don't see her as much, but I still love. If I make a friend, one thing you should know, or meet somebody, and I don't lose people. I don't throw people away. They're just too valuable.
You value.
Yeah, even though you don't have, you know, like I'm going to college, so I have other friends, and then I'm going here, I have other friends, whatever, you know. So, but I can still see them today and still get some love. Yeah. Because I find,
you guys, who was interested
okay,
in
so
you first?
Jerry, well, they was all interested in me. Duh. No, I'm playing. But no, he was real cool. He was from, or is from Arkansas, real tall, slender, and military, and I really love military guys. Like I would go to Alameda to Johnny B. Goods and just hang out with the boys, and go on boats. And I don't know how somehow I always ended up on a tour of their boat or their whatever.
Was he in the Navy?
No, he was actually in the Army. He was in Korea. He was just getting home and visiting, and we just chilled. We just partied. I meet a lot of people, and I don't know. They came to they came to pick me up for New Year's Eve at Granny's. I was staying with Granny. I had 4 dates, girl, and I let him.
Jerry know?
Well, actually, it was for his brother that day, and he just was for the ride. And it was like, well, we here, and we're in Oakland. Where you want me to go? I said, I don't know. Go get a room wherever you're going to stay. I'll see you in a minute, girl. Anyway, that part. But, and we went back, and we just became friends. And Jerry wasn't a bad guy. I was just really young, really a lot. You know, he loved his daughter. Yeah, I met Jerry at, I guess we were neighbors, so that's why I'm in college, City College, Sac City. And yeah, that's pretty much where I met him. Girl, you making me think back.
Yeah, they want to know.
Trying to
So
forget
how
some
did your
things.
interest go from the brother to Jerry?
Well, because we were all just friends, and I just met Artist first, so we just kind of connected.
I see.
But when I came back, Artist had another girlfriend. That part. And so it was cool. Me and Jerry, and they had another brother, Curtis, who's no longer with us, my heart. And we just was hanging out. It was just like that. None of us really were, that I know. He didn't show interest. I think we just started doing things. I would go fishing with them, and like my brothers took me fishing in Oakland, so I didn't really know how to fish. But yeah, I would go do different things with them.
What was your first official date? Do you recall?
Probably dancing, because that's what I do. I think after he went dancing with me one more time, he couldn't take it because a lot of the guys was getting at me. I think we might have been a little jealous. And I'm a people person, and I talk, and I'm a hugger. And I don't see it.
Flirt?
Yeah, big time. I mean, what's wrong with flirting? Put a smile on somebody's face. Just smile. Yeah, but that's all. Yeah, that might have been it. I don't think he went out as much as me, honestly. That just probably wasn't his thing. That's all. Yeah.
So, they want to know, how old were you? And with who did you lose your virginity?
Okay, one time I tried it. I still don't like it. I'm just but I could have been, damn, do I gotta answer this?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I could have been 14 or so, 15, 9th grade or so. One time with Brandon. His name was Brandon. He was a Muslim. We had so many different things. We had a lot of Indians. I grew up with a multicultural open. It was just Mexico. I used to think I was Mexican. But anyway, and he was older, and I just had the biggest crush on him. So it was me who initiated it. I just wanted to know.
Oh,
so,
you initiated.
Where
was it?
At his house. Used to go over there, and his sister and me. That's how it goes back in the day. You just, mama's at work, everybody, mama, daddy, but you know. But it was cool. It wasn't no big old, it was cool. I didn't go back. It wasn't all that. I'm just saying. You can cut that. Can you edit some of this stuff?
No, we want it all.
But no, and I've seen him when I moved up here. In fact, Tina, me, and Jerry was at the park, and he was up there with his daughter. And I couldn't tell Jerry. Back in the 80s when Tina was a baby. Tina was about 1, so 82, 3 for sure. So yeah, that was the first time, and then I didn't do it again until later, till at least after 16, 17 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. They want to know, what is your fondest memory of your parents?
Wow. Oh, so many. My dad, just the way he could just charm us, and he was such a shit talker. I'm pretty sure that's where I got this from. He just talked so much mess and go call you out and don't apologize, and I'm so like him, I think, in that way. My mom, she was sweet and kind. She read. She was smart. She's a very smart lady. She was very okay with being alone. Like, as growing up, she never had a boyfriend or anything, so it was me and her after our brothers moved on. So I learned one of the things I loved about her was that she loved the Lord. She gave me that. She made me sit in church, and I'd just be like mad in the back of the church. Everybody, we gonna pray for you, sister. I'm like, pray for yourself. I was mad. I was just a brat. I was a whole brat, and I just know it. But eventually, she just kept bringing me, and I just surrendered to the Lord, and it was the most beautiful thing. And watching her, about 16 or so, 15. No, I couldn't have been that. I was younger, 13 or 14. I was a junior in high school because I used to catch the bus from East Oakland and North Oakland. I used to gather. Every time I went to church was Friday night, youth night. And it was a church, Pentecostal church. So we had testimony service, and I brought the whole neighborhood with me. I mean, literally,
Yes, you did.
I did. We was all in there singing and praising the Lord, worshiping, and yeah, so that's just one of the best gifts she gave me. But fondest memories of her, I don't know, just she was my cuddle bug. I could cuddle with her. She was soft.
How old were you when they passed away?
Like 3 years ago, my mom and my dad was 05 maybe. It's been a while for Dad, and yeah, he taught me. He gave me my work ethic. I know.
Your dad.
Yeah, cause something going to work with him, I loved it. Just feeling special, feeling like Daddy's girl, you know.
It's alright. Okay. Were you were really close with your father and your mom?
No, I was on my own kind of, but the times that I did share were so meaningful, because I was kind of, I think being the youngest of 10, you get lost in the shuffle somewhere. Yeah.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah. Well, I didn't see it now. I see it now. I didn't see it then. It didn't matter. Honestly, it didn't really matter then, as long as I was the kind of person I'm going to take mine. You know, I'm not.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not asking. I'm just going to take it. You're going to give it to me. Don't make you feel like you're supposed to. And I'm still that way. But being able just to know that love. I was older when we really got to spend time. I didn't spend a lot of time with him. I knew him, and but just to have that one-on-one. One of my fondest memories of my dad is this. I had to be first grade, second grade, something like that. He took me and bought me my first pair of boots and my first fur coat. And I love them both to this day. It just feels special coming from your father. You know, it's like the first man you ever loved. And I base a lot of things on it. Like, you have to work. You have to be funny, because he was funny. And you have to be strong. You have to take care of your family. You know, those are the. So when I found men and I decided to share my life with them, if they didn't share them principles, I was like, it's okay, I'm gonna fix you. Didn't work.
When you say you found them.
When I, came in relationships as an adult. Those are the things that I based what you should be as a man. You know, you don't take everything from people. You don't take, like some of my children sometimes. Well, you did this, you did that. I'm like, but what about the other part? You know, what about the part when I fed you every day? And what about, tell me something good about me. Tell me how loyal and how down and how I never let you down, how you never missed a meal, you know.
With your kids.
Yeah.
They want to know, talking about your kids, how was it raising 4 kids alone?
It was beautiful, but it was hard. My Tina, she is my whole rock. She was there through a lot of it. She
Was she your big support? Who was your support during those times?
Tina. She's never turned her back on me. She probably caught the brunt of everything I did right or wrong, you know, but probably then, because I was lost, you know, I had other issues, and so I didn't mind it, because I'm a work-minded person, so everything was structured. I put them to bed, they ate, you know.
Were you a strict mom?
Yeah, still am. Oh yeah, yeah. We didn't get no passes, and then they didn't get no passes, and that might have been probably too strict. You know, if I could do it again, the only thing I would do different was just be a little less consumed in my lost world, and just focus on them, like more on their education, more on the things that I was more of a provider, but I just wasn't really available in a lot of ways. But I was there. You know how you're present.
Yeah.
You know that part. So I would do that.
That's what you
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I would definitely do that differently because, God, they're beautiful children. They still are. They really are. And I wouldn't trade one of them for the world, not one. And it wasn't so hard. It was hard because it was lonely. It was boring. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't always work. I would bring people in their lives who didn't always have all of our best interests. They didn't have their own though, you know. But I was probably just looking for companionship more. You know, I could take care of my kids. Just be here with us, kind of thing.
What would you say is or was your biggest setback in life?
Just not loving myself. So I probably was looking for love or acceptance or something and other things when all the time I was loved. But I just didn't.
You didn't know. How did you come to know or have that love for yourself?
I'm still working on it. Honestly, I'm just still working on forgiveness. I carry a lot of guilt. I've asked for forgiveness, but I can honestly say that it's probably more of a learned behavior now. You just, not so much self-pity, but just, I don't know if it's regret. I'm not even sure how to put this into words, but I still struggle with that, you know, just because, like you say, look back on your kids and what could I have done different. I mean, I must have done something right. They all showed me an amazing amount of love. So I did love them. But I just, people say you can't love unless you love yourself. But I don't know if that's true in my case. I do genuinely love deep, like, and it's loyal and it's honest and it's true and it comes from a real place. So, and my kids do come first. I just think I got lost in a lot of ways. So that to me has to be that I didn't have self-love, because how you do that if you love yourself, kind of thing. Yeah, I question a lot, but I can't change it and I can't take it back, and that sounds kind of like get over it, but I don't mean it that way. I don't quit beating me up. I don't let other people beat me up for my mistakes. I'm pretty good at that. I do it to myself. So what you can't do is just tell me about me, and I'm just not letting you do that. And because if that's all you have for me, and no direction, no growth, or no forgiveness, or no love, then I don't think you mean me well anyway. So bye, Felicia.
Greatest memories?
Those children going to the parks, going their birthdays, watching Tina sing her. Those children, my family.
Do you have a specific memory for each kid? What comes to mind first?
Oh, so many different ones, but
Start with Tina.
start with Tina. Girl, I can't even say enough about her. She was so strong, and I don't know. She just. I remember one day I was turning 21, and me and Tina were at the store, and she was about 2. Adam was 19. She goes, I was buying dresses. I said, which one, the pink or the blue? I already knew I wanted the blue, but and she picked one. I think she picked the pink one. She said, are you going to church with me? And I was going to the club. That broke my heart. And it just did, because she was 2. Like, are you going to? Auntie Marie used to take her to church a lot back then, her dad's sister. So, y'all killing my makeup. Look, paid a lot of money for this. Look. But that's just something. I have so many.
What about
watching her graduate? Go ahead.
her graduation?
Yeah, and I never did. You know, all of my children pretty much did.
What's your fondest memory with Marquetta?
She was such a good little girl. She was just a good. I never ever had to. I don't think Marquetta ever got a spanking. Literally, she was always just. Tina got lots. She talked back, something like her mama. But Marquetta, she just is. She's so quiet and shy, and it's like just opening that shell, cracking that nut. And then I didn't know what I was gonna get. I didn't want her to hold in something that she felt bad, and so I don't know, Marquetta. She's an amazing mom. She's just a beautiful person, beautiful daughter. I think something that stood out to me was my friend Tracy was getting married, and Marquetta was singing at her wedding, and I went with her to the rehearsal just to visit, and and I'm sitting upstairs, and she's downstairs rehearsing, and this voice, I just cried, and it just chills came on my body. I was like, who is that? That's your daughter. I'm like, I just don't know a lot about Ketta because she's so quiet, I didn't know she could sing, right now, just that day, just looking at all of them and how amazing they are, even David, even Andre.
What about David?
Woo, David, he's something like his mama.
Is he most like you?
In my I can't even find a word. My vocabulary ain't that big. So David's he's definitely a child. He seems lost and starved. And difference between me and David is I don't make excuses. David finds excuses.
What's your best memory of
okay. See, girl, there's so much going on right now. I'm gonna have to search.
Stuff.
David's a hard worker. And he's a good son. He loves his mom. He just gives me a hard time. It's like the day I handed him his daughter, and I found out he was a father, and the fact that he stepped up at that moment. He still gets lost and stuff, but there's so many more, but David's definitely got my back too. He's like the day I think his dad left or somebody left, and I messed around and told David, "You the man now." Girl, why I tell him that? He still think he's so he definitely is there. He's there for everybody.
What about your baby?
He's so strong. And amazing and kind and smart, and he was a good baby too. He didn't cry. He didn't cry at all for 2-3 years. I was like, what the fuck you cry? But his struggle, understanding how are you that strong? Just God, don't make mistakes. Andre's just, it's hard to find words. I'm just looking at everything about him. All of them are amazing.
Was there a moment that you realized he was so strong, or particular?
Definitely when he got ill. He was ill. He was diagnosed with lupus, nephritis, and I kept taking him to find out what's wrong. I listened to a lot of people.
You say you listen to a lot of people?
And just trusted the medical people and everybody. And I did what they said to school, give him medicine, do this, do that. But I just did whatever. I know I don't know, he just, when he seized, when every time something would happen and I would yell at him, Andre, wake up, and he would listen. And the doctor's like, get her, they're like, get her out. I'm like, no. They're like, leave her, because he listens to her and he responds. And I don't know, I just, just the amazing strength. And he's endured so much.
What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment in life?
Definitely my children. They are definitely the best part of me. Like, all the things that I didn't do, they are. It's like they are everything that I would have loved to have been, in so many different ways.
That's
so
powerful.
yeah, they are. They are. That is That is it. I wouldn't trade not one of them for, even I have stepchildren that are amazing. I love that. The children in my life, my grandchildren, oh my God, I'm a punk. They can have it. Any of my family, I just do. So that is.
So that's your
That's
greatest
my
accomplishment.
greatest to date. Yeah, my children. If I look at them, they're all here. They all got me here. They've all stuck by me. You couldn't ask for a little lip here and there. You got, hey, I take it. Par for the course. Just tell them don't lock me up when I lose my mind. Look, I don't want to go there. Don't leave me here. And that's all I ask. Just deal with some stuff. I deal with you. Deal with me. I change your diaper. Change my diaper.
Your baby.
Fair exchange
Greatest
ain't no.
accomplishment.
Yep.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, thank you. What was your mother's name and your father, and where were they from?
My mother's name was Margaret. Margaret Faye Hunter. And she was from Newton, Texas. And she mostly grew up there, then came out here to visit a sister and stayed. Then when she married my dad, they started traveling because he was in the service.
Where did she meet your dad?
She met him down in Newton, Newton, Texas. Another thing is that my dad is from Meridian, Mississippi. And his name is Eddie Lewis Hurd. And he mostly stayed down there until he joined the service and then started traveling. But I think she's one of 11 and he is one of 12.
Wow. How long were they married?
Oh, God. Start the math. Okay.
We'll take an estimate.
30 years.
Wow. 30 years. Wow.
Well, 30 plus.
So your childhood. What was your childhood like? Your fondest memories? What was it like growing up?
I was light-skinned. And I got mixed up sometimes with being the wrong color. I was mistaken for being white. So everything was cool until my bigger brother would come to pick me up. And then I'd be fussed at and told never to come back, things like that.
Wow.
But I grew up before civil rights really got started. So we were still fussing and fighting. My uncle and my aunt were mixed race. And they couldn't marry until after 1965.
Wow.
And they had to hide and do all these different things. So we had to be careful what we said about them, things like that. But afterwards, things got better. We lived in Oakland. We had the Black Panthers. And they made things more interesting, getting involved in the neighborhood.
So it was better when, how old were you when you moved to, you said Oakland?
Oakland,
How old were you?
10.
10. And did you experience those struggles in Oakland, being a fair skin?
Yes.
You did? There's that for you.
Thank you.
Is there a particular moment or something specific or a memory or struggle that you remember?
White girls tell them if they had a tan if they were darker than me. So every summer still I get a tan to try to be darker than what I used to be. Now I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Does this affect you to this day?
It still affects me
Does it?
because I still worry about it. But I know that I'm okay. But it really was a problem when I was younger.
Yeah,
I used to get beat up and
Did you?
different things like that.
Wow. What about, did you have siblings?
Yes.
Did they experience the same? Were they
No.
fair skin as well?
No.
Were you the only one?
Yes. I was like my mother.
Did you experience that feeling like an outsider within your own home?
Sometimes yes. Most of the time, no.
Wow.
My brother really looked after my sister and I and took care of us. And then we had another brother that was adopted that was younger than us. Actually, he's 9 years younger than me. And he was dark complexion. So I used to love him.
Did you?
Yeah.
He probably wanted to be fair skinned. Did you ever want to be dark? Darker
Yes.
tone?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so beautiful.
So you said, were your siblings, were they your support during that time? What was your relationship like with your siblings growing up?
Everything was okay. We played together. We were naturally raised together where, you know, this is your sister, this is your brother, you have to get along, and when nobody else is there, they're there. And it made things easier.
Having them.
But getting older, it's like we all kind of went our own ways. But it's like my brother and I live together now.
Oh.
He helps take care of me
Oh, wow.
with the things that I can't do around the house. He does.
Oh, wow.
I don't see well enough to drive. He does.
Was this the younger brother? That
This is the older brother. My younger brother was killed.
At what age?
I think he was 26. It was a hit and run accident. But the lady's car wouldn't go 2 blocks further. So they got her and brought her back to the accident.
Oh my gosh.
But he was on a bicycle and she hit him on the bicycle running a light.
How did that affect you? How were you affected by that?
That was hard because, like I said, he was my favorite.
Were you closest with him?
Yes. Everybody was.
Was
He
he?
was the peacemaker. And with the kids, I had one kid when he was 9. And he had put up all his blocks for the baby. You know, had to try out all the equipment to make sure the playpen would hold
That was his
him.
role.
Yeah. And then when the second one came along, it's like he's the big uncle. He had to buy all the toys, things like that.
Yeah.
And they were really close with him.
Your children?
Mhm.
Nice. What about your mother? What are some of your greatest memories of your mother?
We had our own happy dance.
The happy dance. Can we see it?
We could do the happy dance.
Can we get the happy dance?
We would stand up,
Okay.
hug each other around the neck,
Uh-huh.
and jump up and down and go wee wee.
Wow. When did you do the happy dance?
When something good happened.
Oh. Yeah.
It's like if you found an extra $20 bill in your purse or
dance.
something, happy dance. You got a sale at the store, happy dance. Anything good, you had to do the happy dance.
Happy dance. Do you still do the happy dance? Did you do the happy
Yes,
dance with
even
your
without her.
boys?
No, I do it
you do it by yourself.
without her, by myself.
Oh.
The happy dance with the boys, we don't really do.
But you do it.
I do it. It's something to keep up. But I don't know if they do it with, you know, their wives or whatever.
Do they know about the happy dance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh, they know.
They know.
Uh-huh.
That was something that my mother and I, we always did. And life was generally happy when I grew older.
What do you miss most about your mother?
The shopping.
The shopping?
We were close in size and we'd buy things,
That's nice.
or we'd stick her in a room in the dressing room and just throw things over the top at her. And she would try it on, and then we'd tell her if it looks good or not. I think that was my
Who
favorite.
else was there?
My big brother.
Oh, he would go shopping too?
Yeah, he would go shopping. Because we'd have to force her to buy clothes.
For herself.
Yep. She'd always be doing things for other people. I kind of
mother.
picked up the habit.
Did you? Did you? What, so did I'm assuming your mother's influence had a big role in how you grew into the woman that you are today?
Yes, and how I raised my kids.
Was it? Expand on that. How did your mother influence the way you mother your children?
My mother had sayings that were passed down. The first one and the main one she would always say, each generation has to do more than the last for there to be progress as a family.
Wow.
So it's like we have. But the grandchildren, my grandchildren, which are her great-grandchildren, have to go at least 4 to 6 years of college. They're told that now while they're little.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're told that no matter what you do, we are going to make sure that you do this.
Wow. So what is the most important thing for you that you share with your sons now?
Mainly what they do with their kids and what makes them happy. You have to be happy no matter what you work, what you're doing. You got to take time to have fun.
That's true. That's true.
You're making the money, but you're supposed to enjoy it too.
So the beginning of your motherhood, how old were you?
19.
And what was it like raising a son at 19? Did you have a support or a
Lord.
village? Who were your biggest?
Yeah, we had a
influence?
complete village. My mother, number one, I'd call her instead of the doctor.
Did you?
And Maurice wanted a popsicle, and he was following it. And he was only 6 weeks old. He was following it with his eyes. And my mother said, give it to him. Now that sounded strange, so I called the doctor, and the doctor said the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Give it to him. It's sugar water. And babies, you actually do give them sugar water. So I gave it to him.
Wow.
But after that, everything she said, the baby coughing, called grandma.
Right. Did you have any other? Who else was a part of that village?
My auntie,
Yeah.
my dad. I had friends that had children. And when my kids got a little older, they had friends to play with. And we would always put them together. And then in church, we would always put kids together, and they would play together and learn each other's ways and get along and
Yeah.
have fun.
So you raised your boys in church?
Yes and no. We had a problem when my youngest was 5. The pastor and the deacon said that my son was too young to be baptized. So we snuck him in, and he got baptized.
Who baptized him?
The pastor, he was already at the baptism tank. He didn't have a choice.
Wow.
But it kind of changed our thinking a little bit.
Oh, at the church.
Yeah, and shortly thereafter we left.
Did you join another church?
No.
No.
There were times when we'd go to church, but I didn't join another one.
And you haven't since?
No.
I see. What are some of what morals do you hope that your sons have picked up on or seen exemplified by you, that you hope that your sons continue to?
Once you enter a child's life, you never leave. You could be mad at the mother whatsoever, it doesn't matter. You never leave. And that's for friends. Both my sons are married. I plan on them only having one wife. They have kids, the kids respect them, and I feel they're doing well with their kids as far as raising them. I really believe that they are doing the right things by their kids and their wives. But more than anything, I want them to do things that God wants them to do. And always remember that.
Well, that was one, but they want to know, what are the top 3 things you feel your sons need to survive and make it successfully in this world?
A job.
That's number 1.
A job.
Number
A
2,
good heart.
good heart. And number 3,
Please God.
please God. All right. They want to know, what are some of your biggest fears?
Oh, wow. Not seeing my grandbabies.
Not saying your own boobies.
Yeah, not being able to. My eyesight comes and goes type of. But I have problems seeing. But not being able to see them is a fear.
Your biggest fear.
Yeah.
Do you see things in your grandchildren that you taught your sons?
All the time. It's like, makes me feel good.
Does it?
Because my mother passed them down, and I know she's happy that I passed them down. But you can see my mother in my youngest granddaughter,
How so?
her ways. And the way she talks, the things she says. And she used to do things. Like she would tell me, I'm the child, she's the grandma. And she usually actually try to spank me. Yeah,
Really?
she really wanted to spank the grandma.
For
And
what?
then if I did something she didn't like.
Oh.
And she would tell me to do things and expect me to do them. But it's like now she's a lot nicer and does what grandma says.
Good.
And she's a good girl. But when she was younger, she really thought that she was the boss.
Do you see it in any of your other grandchildren?
And Ninjari. I see her in Ninjari because of the way she is. Ninjari's another peacemaker. And he wants everybody to get along. And my mother used to always, try to keep the peace. And she would do things just so other people would be happy.
Oh. And you see that in grandbaby.
I see him.
Do you see, what do you see in your sons?
Uncle David.
Your
I
uncle?
see my mom a little bit, but I see Uncle David because they're always doing. They like the outdoors, they like going places, the nature walks, the hiking. But what I mostly see is the family. Family is very important.
Is that something you taught your boys to value?
Yes,
Was that taught to you?
yes.
So you see that?
We have a lot of family here in Sacramento, and I'm not really close with them as I used to be. And that's why I'm glad that my grandkids are close to my other grandkids, so that they mix a lot and spend a lot of time together. I also like the way they play with their friends, and their friends are part of a bigger family that
village.
all, that all consider me Grandma Charlotte.
Oh.
And they're good kids. Nowadays, it's really hard to find a bad kid. They rather are good and they like things. They like to enjoy things. They aren't really looking for trouble.
Yep. So, something that your boys said that describes you is the amount of love you show, and that you
Love
love
you.
unconditionally. Where did that come from? They want to know.
The saying goodbye and be safe is love you and be safe. Whenever it's a goodbye, it's love you and be safe. I want to make sure that you know you are loved, and I want that be safe to be on your mind when you leave. That's the main thing, is that this is what I want.
Yep.
The reason why I want it and I build it up is the fact that I've lost so many people that I never had a chance to even say I love you. And it's too late. I don't want that to happen no more.
Who's someone that you lost that you wish you could have had that moment?
My cousin Wayne, his wife started him on drugs, and he just overdosed.
What's something you would like to share with him? If you're able to say one more thing to him, what would it be?
He was a good cousin.
That he was a good
He always looked out for us.
cousin. And they would like to know, what do you feel is your biggest accomplishment in life?
Them,
Your children?
my boys,
Your boys.
yes. Them and their friends that became my children, and the things that they do in life, and all the stuff around that. We used to have parties once every 3 months for all the birthdays in those 3 months,
Oh,
and have big barbecue and everything, and everybody would come.
did you host them?
Yeah, we had about 60 kids.
Oh, wow.
And we stopped after it started getting too big and gangs started getting out of hand. But usually when the gangs did come to the parties, it was Grandma's house, so nobody acted up.
That unconditional love that they're talking about.
Right.
You gave it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We used to feed skinheads and give them Black History lessons.
Wow, did you?
Yeah.
Where did you ever have a fear by opening your home up to? When did that start? Did your mother do that, or this is something that you?
My mother would take it better. I would be the grandmother or the mom,
Uh-huh.
and she would be the grandmother or the great-grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some kids that went to my house and I wasn't there, they'd go to grandma.
Oh, wow. So your mom was doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And last but not least, what is your most proudest moment?
Proudest moments. There are so many. The proudest. When Maurice met Tina and decided that he wanted to marry her.
Oh,
That was the most beautiful thing. He had the shakes and got nervous.
was this at the proposal? Did he tell you before
Yep,
that he knew she was the one?
yes. And he had already picked out someone that he said was the one. They had a ring and
Just as prior,
yeah. And it's like, I like this one.
and you liked
I
it. You
like
knew.
that one, but I don't like her no more. I like this one.
What made you like Tina?
Tina was his best friend. And the best friend should be the perfect one. Because the other one, yeah, you do things with, you have fun, but your best friend is there thick and thin. And with my other son, it was when he told me his wife was not his wife. At that time, they were just boyfriend and girlfriend. But when he told me she was pregnant, because they had a child before the other one did.
Oh.
And so that just put me up in whirls in the winds.
Excited.
Yes.
Greatest memories. They want to know about your childhood. So we want to know about your childhood and how was it, your fondest memories.
Gee, that encompasses a lot because I had a great childhood. I had both my parents with me, and I had two brothers that were actually a pain in the butt, but you know.
Why were they a pain in the butt?
Because they were younger. I was the oldest.
Oh.
And so the baby boy, Jeff, was spoiled rotten. The middle boy, Ken, thought everything was against him all the time when it wasn't. But, and I was the only girl. Later, they always wanted me to, anything they wanted my dad to do, they asked me to do it.
Your brothers.
Yes. And my mother.
Really?
Yes. They said I could get away with asking him to do stuff when they couldn't.
Were you daddy's little
I was
girl?
daddy's little girl. In fact, I have a tattoo on my shoulder that says daddy's girl. But I really love my dad. I love both of them very much, but my dad and I were closer.
Were you? What made you? What made you closer to your father? What did you guys share that maybe you and your mother didn't?
My mother was kind of jealous of the relationship that me and my dad had, but I never knew that until I became older. But my dad did spoil me. You know, bottom line, he did spoil me. But he never let me get away with things that most spoiled children did get away with. And he always taught me that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And my mother I was her only girl, so she wanted me to be the best at everything. And then she wanted that for all her granddaughters too, which I understood and I kind of agreed with. But they were special kind of people.
What was it like being the oldest and having
Oh
that
my
responsibility?
You had to clean the house, you had to wash the dishes, you had to cook the dinner. You had to make sure your brothers didn't get into trouble. You had to watch over them. It was stressful because they wanted me to make sure that my brothers did what they were supposed to do. But in the same token, my brothers didn't want me bossing them around. So,
Do you feel they put too much responsibility on you as a child?
as a child, no, they didn't put too much responsibility on me because they taught me to take care of anybody that I cared about. And I have a tendency to still do that, but
Yeah.
I try to back off now. Sometimes they let me, sometimes they don't. It all depends on how they feel.
Did you like being the oldest? If you could switch it around, would you still have chosen to be the oldest?
Yes,
Yeah?
I would. I don't think my brothers were capable of being leaders. I'm not saying anything derogatory
No,
about
I
them,
understand.
but they had their own spoiledness, and they used to get mad at me because my dad and mom would do things for me that they wouldn't do for them. And I used to tell them all the time, get your own address. You'll be okay.
Like what? What did they do for you that they weren't doing for them?
I can remember one year I was pregnant and I wasn't living at home, but I had no job, no money. And my dad, and I was living with my cousin at the time, he gave us both money to buy Christmas gifts for our kids.
How sweet.
And my mom, she made and bought Christmas gifts for my kids. Whereas my brother said, well, they're always doing for you. And I'm like, that's because I'm still trying to do for myself. And I will do anything to do for myself. I didn't like being taken care of. I wanted to be independent.
Did you accept the help?
Yeah, under duress. But I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the kids. So I took it like that.
So back to your childhood. What is one of your fondest memories that you, on your own and one with your brothers? What's the memory that you share?
Ooh. I can remember when we were going, one of, I wouldn't say it's a fond memory, but
I remember.
we were going to the air show at the Naval Air in Alameda. And my mom was pregnant with my baby brother. And she kept telling my dad, you have to walk behind me so I don't fall. You have to walk behind me so I don't fall. And I was like, you're not going to fall. It's not that big of a... And she fell.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh my God. She was pregnant, right? And so she must have cussed my dad out left and right. And my middle brother just kind of looked and shook his head. And I said, don't do that. You're going to make it all worse. You're going to make it all worse. And then when my baby brother was born, he was such a big, fat, chunky baby. He was one of those kinds you just had to hug and kiss and love. Yeah, the cheeks and everything. And he got really, really sick. And he couldn't eat. And the first thing he ate was rice, plain rice. And from that day forth, my brother and I used to call him Little Chinese Baby because he would eat nothing but rice. And myself, I can remember a birthday party my mother threw for me. She's kind of like Paris. They were kind of alike because they had events. They didn't have,
Party
so she made aprons for everybody that attended the party, and we baked cookies the whole birthday party. And I enjoyed that so much.
How old were you?
I must have been about 6 at the time. So, it wasn't any heavy duty baking, but
still,
it was so much fun.
Wow.
So that was
one of your best birthdays. Wow. Dream job. What was your dream job? What did you aspire to be as a child?
a nurse.
A nurse?
I wanted to be a nurse.
What made you want to be a nurse?
Because I wanted to help. And all I could see was, well, I wanted to work in the pediatrics department and help the little kids, and I just loved that. Up until when I was in high school, they had a career day, and they took certain students to situations where they would see what they wanted to do. I happened to be at the hospital when a baby died. That was it. I cried and cried and cried. I said, no, I can't do this. I cannot do this at all.
Were you in the room when the...
No, they were. I wasn't in the room. I heard about it, and then it had that effect on me. And then after that, my mom and I, it must have been a couple of years after that. No, it was before that. So it wasn't my first situation. We were in a fashion show, and the fashion show was at a funeral home, and we thought we were in line to get food.
And what were you in line for?
The viewing of a body. The mother and baby died at childbirth. I just couldn't do it. I was like done.
my
I was through. I said, yeah, no, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. Nothing that has to, where I might come in contact with death. So I just stopped. I just stopped dreaming about being a nurse. I knew it wasn't.
Did it change?
No, it never changed. Even as I got older, my cousins used to say, don't let her go to the funeral. She's going to really act crazy.
Really?
I'm like, it took a long time before, I think after I understood death, then I wasn't as bad with it. But instead of, you know, just falling out and screaming and hollering like so many of us do,
Yes.
I would hold it in until I got to wherever I quiet space away from people, and then I would let my feelings show.
Did that carry on? Do you still do that now?
Yep,
Do you?
yep, I do.
What's a safe place to let those feelings?
My bedroom
Your bedroom.
with the door closed by myself.
So back to that high school.
Ooh,
What was high school like? They want to know. Did you have a high school sweetheart?
yes, I did. Did I have a high school sweetheart? Jeez. His name was Otis Camo,
Otis.
and
What did he look like? Don't skip that part.
he kind of looked like James. But he wasn't as, I mean, he was taller than James, and he wasn't as heavy as James, but they did have a lot of
Resemblance.
features. Yeah, it was the same. And he was a nice guy, but my mom and dad just was not into the whole boyfriend-girlfriend thing, so it was, he was a nice guy.
What age did your parents allow for you to date?
Date? Oh, okay. I was 16, and a friend of my dad's was going to his senior ball, and he didn't have a date.
Okay.
And so my dad volunteered me to go to his senior ball with him at 16. Had to be home by 12. Okay. And knew nothing about ordering food and going out. And the dress I wore was my mother's. It was a dress that belonged to my mother. So I went to his senior ball with him looking like trouble, going somewhere to happen. And we went to Fisherman's Wharf, and I ordered a hamburger. And that was the extent of my first date that my dad was okay with. Now, actually dating or actually going out,
When did that happen?
yeah, I don't remember how old I was. I must have been about 16, a little older than 16, because I did it on sly under the, yeah, something
Did you
I
ever
really
date your
don't.
sweetheart?
Oh yeah, I did date him.
Was that at 16? How old were you?
I was, yeah, about 16, but you know, we went to the movies during the day. It wasn't a in the evening go out type of thing.
Because you were hiding it at that point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But
So he never got to come home and meet mom or dad. Did he ever meet your brothers?
yeah, they liked him because he had a car.
Uh-oh.
But when I broke up with him, they were through with him. You know, they brothers are like that. They just, yeah, if you like them, okay. But once you stop liking them, they stop liking them. They're done.
I know that. What traditions did you have as a child or young adult, and what traditions that you had that you would like for your children to continue?
We, well, some of the traditions I did as when I was a grandparent, and I did when the kids were little, Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, and we got together a lot as a family. Everybody, picnics. I say today that my grandkids don't know all of their cousins because some of the things that we did, they have no idea. I mean, we would barbecues, picnics, any type of gathering, and they don't have that. And Christmas, a lot of Christmas. Well, some of my daughters still celebrate Christmas the way I did, but
How was that?
Christmas tree, hiding the presents, and the kids being surprised in the morning. There was no open the Christmas present before and knowing that Santa Claus was not a Santa Claus. We had no idea there was no Santa Claus. I mean, I had to be at least 13 years old before I found out that there was no Santa Claus.
How did you find out?
I was looking in my closet and I found Christmas presents back in the back of the closet. And I was so hurt.
Oh,
I figured it out then that there was no Santa Claus. And that was very hard for me to deal with. But some of them still do it. And even at 13, we never said to our parents, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. Because once you did that, it was a done deal.
Yep.
It was over. And hiding eggs on Easter and having an Easter egg hunt, all those just things that families don't do anymore.
Yeah.
They just getting together on Mother's Day for. I realize that my daughters are mothers, and we still honored my mother as a mother. And we did that here one year where all the mothers and the daughters that were mothers got together and they just did it. My son-in-law usually did all the cooking, but you know, he was the only one able. But you know, sometimes just getting together with family is something that we did all the time. Kids' birthdays, just birthday parties for each of the grandchildren and the children. We gave birthday parties. We had family gatherings, and it's not that important to them anymore. And it's kind of sad. It's really kind of sad that they don't. A lot of times, we're so judgmental of the way our sisters or brothers are doing their lives that we can't see that maybe if you showed some interest other than constantly criticizing, there would be some difference. There would be a difference. And hey, I love all my kids and all my grandkids and all my great grandkids, and they're all different because their parents raised them differently. And a lot of times I'll sit back and I'll look at them and I'll say, wow, if I had done that, my mother would be my behind.
Yeah.
And it, you know, but there's nothing you can really say because that's how they were brought up. And I kind of miss it. I have cousins that I grew up with that we used to go on family barbecues with that my kids don't even know.
Really?
And or seen. I've got a cousin that plays in a band, And I say, oh yeah, he plays with so and so, and that's how I met this group.
Yeah.
You did what? How? Well, my cousin. That's how. And they don't do that anymore.
So do you think that that tradition started falling apart during your generation? Did you fall out of contact with those cousins and those family members?
I think it fell apart in my children's generations when they got older, because I know when we did it as children, and when they were children I continued to do it, but when my children got old, they stopped doing it. They had better things to do.
So is that what you would like, a tradition you would like for your children and your grandchildren to value a little more?
Yes, I'd love them to value their family, all of their family. Even, God knows we have family that we don't really want to be around, but
Yeah.
it's still your family. You can't pick and choose your family, even those that you don't want to be like. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I understand that perfectly, but it's still your family,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah. So within that family, was there someone you were really close with growing up? Who was that support person for you?
Her name was Tony. She was my first cousin. And she was the oldest cousin of all of us.
Oh, older. So you weren't so someone older than you.
Yes,
Okay.
she was, let's see, my mother had two sisters. And, sorry. And of those two sisters, the middle sister had the oldest daughter. That was Tony. And people used to say we were more like sisters than cousins. But I would talk to her about everything, because my other cousins, they would pick at me. They used to say, you get everything. We don't do this. And I'm like, I didn't know that that's how they felt. So when I talked to Tony, I could say how I felt about everything. And when she died, it was like I lost a best friend and a cousin.
How old were you when she died?
Well, she was my she was Tia's godmother. So I must have been about 40, 45 when she died.
How did that affect you?
As far as everybody knew, I missed her. But there's still times when I miss her.
Yeah.
So
What do you miss most about her?
she would tell you exactly how she felt about something. And if you didn't like it, I'm sorry, I love you, that's too bad. That's just the way I am. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I could always, and she wouldn't say anything vindictive or mean.
Would get into it.
She would tell you how she felt and would be honest about it. So you knew if it came out her mouth, it might not be your truth, but it was hers. So
What's something you would want to tell her if you had an opportunity to say something to her? What would you want to tell her?
I miss you. And I wish you were with me.
Grandparents. We want to know about your grandparents.
Oh my goodness.
What were your grandparents like, and what were your relationships like with them?
Okay. My mother's mother, we used to call short and squatty. Don't like nobody.
Oh my goodness. That's a good one.
Her name was Ruby Jones, and she was really spoiled. And I didn't know her very much, but she came to our house when Denise was born. And she was so mean. She really was. I'm sorry, but she was really a strange lady.
To say the least.
Yeah, And I didn't know her that well.
That well.
I did, so my grandmother was. I found out things about her after, she left my grandfather. I loved my grandfather. He ran a candy shop. That was on my mother's side. He ran a candy shop in North Oakland, and he used to put pictures of us on the calendar.
Cute.
It was like me, Tony, Sheila, and Butch, and Terry and Ken. I think those are the five of us that ended up on the calendar. And he was a sweet person.
You seen him a lot? That grandfather?
Yeah, that
You
grandfather.
grew up around him
Yeah, I
a lot?
grew up around him. And my dad's father. He
What was his
was
name?
a minister. His name was Joe Cowling. And he was a minister, and he was a great guy. We always were very nice around him.
Because he was a minister?
Because he was a
Is that why?
But actually, both my grandfathers were in church. But
Was he stern, the minister grandfather? Or was he strict? Did you see him relax?
he was really quiet.
Quiet.
He was more the quiet type than anything else. He was a very tall man. One guy was very tall. One guy was, my mother's dad was short and big. And my other grandfather, he was so nice to me. They all used to say, well, you're the one we came to California for, because I was the first granddaughter, first grandchild. But I'm like, yeah, no. Don't put that on me. You came to California because you wanted to.
Yeah.
But, and his wife, I did not know. I saw pictures of her.
Oh, his wife.
She was the Indian in the family.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, and we are, to this day, are trying to find out what,
Type.
well, we know she was Cherokee. So my dad had Cherokee on his side, and my mom had Blackfoot on her side.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know how or where or how much, but we're actually, my cousin and I are actually looking into that to try and find
The
out.
process of tracking your DNA. And
Yeah,
your
that
ancestry
whole.
line. Wow. What brings you joy? Pure joy, happiness. What is it?
My kids and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. Unfortunately, I built my life around them. So when I'm not around them, I'm like, gee, I wonder what they're doing, where they're going, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And sometimes I have to realize that they have a life and I need to let it go, let them go. But
Is that hard?
it's very hard for me. It's very hard. And I'm very family oriented. So I like, I can see them doing things and making headways in their lives. And when I want to help them, I want to do something, anything. And sometimes I can't. And they tell me, Mom, you can't do this and you can't do that. And they don't understand that bothers me
When they tell you that
when
you
that I can't do it. Even though I know I can't do it. But I still try.
Yeah. What is your greatest fear? I hear you talking about, not being able to do those things.
Yeah.
What's your greatest fear?
My greatest fear. Wow. I think my greatest fear is leaving this earth without them knowing just how much I care for them. And not being able to share as much as I can with them.
What's something that you would say to each of your children?
Oh my God.
Something that you would want them to know that they don't know.
Okay, now I got a tear.
Starting from the oldest down.
Okay. Denise. We used to fight all the time. I think we grew up together. And when my first granddaughter was born, oh my God, we fought all the time. And because she wanted to be in control, and she wanted me not to have so much say-so about her. And I would want her to know that no matter what she did or how she acted or her choices in her life, that I loved her. And I will always love her, even though we may not agree. Because there's a lot of things she does that I don't agree with. But those are her choices.
Yeah.
And she's entitled to make them. My son, Gino. Gino has always been his own man. He says a lot of things that kind of rub me the wrong way, but I'm like, you know, you're going to have to be you, whatever it is. And no matter what you are, I'm going to have your back regardless.
Yep.
And he never, I can remember a time he called me and asked me to borrow some money. And he got so mad at me because he had to ask me to borrow the money. And I said, you know, if I have it, you have it. I'm not gonna, it's not gonna go anywhere but right here. Between us. I'm not the one that's gonna say, yeah, so-and-so did this and I had to do this. That's not me. When you come to me and ask me for anything, it's going to be between you. Tish. Tish is my daughter that I never saw growing up because I gave her up for adoption. And she just came back into my life in 2011. And I feel that she always feels like her sisters and brothers got more of me than she did, which is probably true because I was with them more. And I want her to realize that because I gave you up for adoption, I did that because I couldn't give you what I gave them. I couldn't do it.
What made you come to that choice?
Because I was living with my parents. I had a job that was barely taking care of me. And I could not take care of her. And I wanted her to have something better. So I gave her up for adoption. And when she found me, there's a long story behind her conceivement that I really don't want to go into. But when she found me, I was more afraid that her sisters and brothers would hate me for depriving them of their sister.
Was that a fear that you held on to?
No, it was far from that. It was something that I did because I was raped. I didn't tell my parents, and in fact, the only person I did tell was Tony. And when I gave her up for adoption, it was Tony that she was the only one that knew. And I put it out. I mean, I put a mental block up. If someone asked me who her father was, I couldn't tell them. And I just want her to know that I love her, and I can't make up the years. And I can't keep trying. And I know I did. I think I alienated my other daughters, except Denise, trying to make sisters get along with sisters and love sisters, and I couldn't do it. And then it got to the point where I felt like I was being picked at all the time because of something that I didn't have any control over. So, I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you. And I know you went through a lot. But when I made my decision, I didn't do it out of vindictiveness. I did it for you. So, I just want her to know that I do care. I care very much for her. As much. I love all my kids. Tia. Tia is my go-to rock. Sometimes I think I put more on her than I should. But I don't mean to. And I always want them to know that no matter what they think, what she thinks of me, it's so much more than I feel for them than they will ever know. Paris is my baby. I want so much for her, and I feel so alienated because she's sick and she's taking care of her dad and she has her family and she just wants so much, and she can't have it all, but I wish she could. I don't know, I think I want so much for my children that I may end up losing myself in their lives. And that's one reason why I had to move away from them. I had to distance myself only because the things that I wanted to do, I couldn't do. And I figured, just be there when they need you, when they want you. And that'll be okay. I think that's all my kids, except my adopted ones. Troynisha is my adopted daughter. I love her so much, and I'm very proud that I love her so much. I can remember people telling me, well, you love Tori more than you love her. That was so untrue. Tori always was my granddaughter. Troynisha was my daughter. There's a difference. And that's how I felt about her, that she was my daughter. And Tori was my granddaughter. And sure, Tori may have gotten more stuff at the time, but Troynisha got stuff every day. So there was a difference. I treated her like she was my child. And I just love her.
Okay, that was beautiful. What traits do you have that you hope that your children have picked up or will pick up in life?
Wow. Okay, I'm going to start backwards. Paris has picked up my always want to give things all the time.
see yourself in her?
Yes, I see a lot in her that she doesn't realize. And Tia takes a lot. People can walk on her and she doesn't say a word. And I sit back and I see it, but I also have felt it.
And that's a trait that you have?
Yes. And I want her to outgrow it. I want Paris to slow down.
Have you outgrown that trait?
No. No, I haven't. But I still want that better
you
for
want that
them.
for her.
Tish is bossy as hell. And Denise is bossy as hell. Excuse me. I mean, I love them both, but sometimes they need to just step back and let it be. And a lot of times they don't understand that when they say things, and I'm not talking about what they say to their friends and other people, I'm talking about their family, that they say things and it hurts their feelings. And in fact, they both, all of them, have said things to me that hurt my feelings. But I don't say anything to them about it. And I'll pack my bags and go home. And my son...
Why don't you say anything?
Why don't I? Because I'm used to being walked on. It's just something. And until it happens to them, they won't understand it. My son is very... I just want him to put his family in his life, his other family, his biological family. His married family, he has a lot to do with. And I am a firm believer that you can be in the Lord's house and believe in God and not neglect your family. It's not I gotta be this in church and I can't be this with my family. I believe in God and I worship God, but in the same token, I'm not going to fault anybody in my family for their beliefs. And I may not do what they do, but I'm not going to not be around them because they do it. You just have to pick and choose what events. When you're supposed to be with your family for an occasion, then be with your family for an occasion, whatever that may be. And if you have, it took me a long time to realize that my sisters, my daughters had a life of their own. And sure, they may not be able to spend Christmas with me, and Thanksgiving and Easter and everything else. And I believe that they should go this way on one day and this way another day and have a day for their family. I get that. And I'm willing to accept that. But don't just not have nothing to do with it at all.
That's what you want him to work on.
Yes.
Okay. They want to know, what is your favorite go-to saying or phrase?
Oh my God.
What's the one that comes first? Don't think about it. What comes first? What is it?
Is this an X-rated tape?
Oh, come on. What is it?
Oh.
You can edit.
Oh, you can edit?
Yep. What is it?
Kiss my
I think I've heard that one before from you. Okay. They want to know, what made you marry each of your husbands?
Oh my God. That is amazing. Okay. Wayne, I married him. This is so not nice. To get out the house.
It's honest.
They asked.
How old were you?
18. The other one, this is the other one.
And who's that?
His name is Ken. And I really don't know. I can't honestly tell you why.
He proposed to you?
Yes, he did. And at the time, I was living with my cousin, and he was going to make everything A-okay, but he didn't do the necessary things that he needed to do. And that marriage lasted maybe 6 months.
Oh, wow. You ended it?
Yeah. I said. And then the bad part about it is he moved in with me
After?
when we were married.
Oh.
And my last husband, I married because I loved him. I was in love with him desperately. But we grew up. One of us grew up, some of us didn't.
How did it start? Where did you guys meet?
We met at my cousin's house, and we went to dinner celebrating their anniversary. And let's see, I was out of school, and it was before I got married the first time.
So how old were you?
I was probably about 17.
Okay.
And we dated, but he was married. And so we ended it because it was just like, no, you can't do this. Anyway, so then I got married, and that husband, we got a divorce, and then I married the second husband, and then I married him.
Wow. So you guys
Connected.
how did you reconnect? Had you always stayed in contact?
No, we didn't always stay in contact. We actually didn't have contact until it was by accident, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, look how that.
We ran into each other at my cousin's house. And then we started this fling, and then eventually we got married.
Okay.
And actually, I'm still married to him. I'm just not living with him.
What's
But-
your fondest memory with him?
With him, my fondest memory. Oh, gee. I should be able to remember this, right? No, but I can't. We had a lot of good times together. We also, well, I accepted the fact that I couldn't be all things for him, that he needed, and I knew it was time for me to go, to make a change. And that's what I did. And I'll tell him, and like I tell him, I love you, I care about you, but I'm not in love with you. I don't want to end my life with you. But I don't want anything bad to happen to you either.
That's weird. If you can tell, we'll start with your parents, one thing that you never told them, what would it be?
One thing that I never told my parents, both of them. Gee, because I didn't tell my dad a lot of stuff that I told my
Really?
mom. And I can't remember anything that I didn't tell. Oh, I can remember one thing that I never told both of them. That they spoil my daughter rotten
Which
to the
one?
core. The first one, Denise. And had they let me raise her the way I wanted to raise her, or even been in control of her punishments, I think it would have been different. It may not have been better, but it would have been different.
The same thing you wanted. The conflict with your parents sounds like the conflict that you and Denise had.
Yes,
Wow.
right. It is.
Yeah.
But with that case, Denise wanted me to include some people that I felt I shouldn't be. You guys are going to have to really do some editing on this bad boy. She wanted me to accept some other children that I wasn't ready. You can't tell me this is my family, so you're going to have to
Yeah.
accept them. And that's not, I mean, now I do accept them, but at that point, Tori
needed your
was
own
my
time.
granddaughter,
Yeah.
my first granddaughter. You can't tell me that I have to accept so-and-so because this is your choice.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, but not least, what would you like your children and your grandchildren to remember about you?
That whatever I could do for them, I would do. That I love them all very much. And I want them to remember me in their heart. I don't need a monument. I don't need a whole bunch of rhetoric. I just want them to remember me in their heart.
Be leaders, not followers. Stand on principles, not personality. Understand who loves you and who doesn't. Understand everybody has a purpose in your life. Everybody's not there for the same reason. It's okay to be open and trusting, just not with everybody. And honestly, that I really, really mean that's a very good question, because I definitely want them to know that. Also, it's been said, not what you do, how you do it. And I'm the worst at that. But mean what you say and say what you mean. Think first. Something I don't do well. I kind of speak first and then be like, oh, my bad. Sometimes. I don't always apologize, but when you're wrong, please apologize. Forgive often. Often, you have to forgive. If you want someone to forgive you, if you want God to forgive you, you must be able to forgive. You can't ask for something that you're not willing to give. And put God first. I promise you, promise you. If you read the Bible, if you live by it and get an understanding of it, all the things you'll find peace and love and happiness. And I'm on that journey, so wish me well. In Jesus' name.
Be happy. Trust God. Love each other. I want my kids to get along, be better than I was, and your children better than you. Teach it, grow it, become it. That's it.
Thank you. Same question.
First, I would like for my kids to get closer to God, know and learn who He is, and put all your trust in Him and not man. Love one another, stay close together. If you have any hate or malice in your heart, release it to God, and He will take care of the rest.
Same question and message you want to give your children.
Nobody's perfect. Don't try to be. Don't expect it from anybody. Love everyone. I don't care if there's something wrong with them that you don't like. Just love them. Because God does make everything all right. one way or another. And you cannot pass judgment on anybody else because you're not perfect. Love everyone, all your sisters, brothers, all of them, cousins, aunties, neighbors, all of them. I have no idea what a mother was supposed to be like. And yes, it was different from all my expectations because, I grew up watching what's those crazy movies where the kids love the mom and the dad and everybody's a-okay? No, that's not what happened. Leave it to Beaver and all that stuff. It's not what happens. Your kids are going to be a pain sometimes. They're not going to be a pain sometimes. Sometimes they're going to do things that you don't expect them to do. You want them to do one thing, they're going to do what they want to do. And the only thing that I can honestly say that a mother should do is love their children. That's the only thing we can do because trying to mold them to our specifications is not going to work.
Thank you. Miss Bessie, same question for you.
Yes, I had no idea what it was to become a mother. Um, but I can say that I tried to do my best. We all make mistakes, and I try to correct them. And if I haven't correct them, I hope that we can correct them. You know what I'm saying? And um, what was the other part of the question?
Was it different than your expectations?
Yes, it was very different than my expectation. I thought everything was going to be uh, roses, and there was they was daffodils. Yes, but I thank God that I did my best, and I know a lot of my help came from Him.
I expected everything to be like my mother had it. We obeyed. We did what we were told. We had a set bedtime. We got along. We did what we were supposed to do. We may not have done anything extra, but we did what we were told. And my mother would always do things for us, so we had our little playtime and things like that to do. I didn't know nothing before my first child was born. So I read every child care book I could get my hand on. I even found one that said black child care. And I read it a couple of times. But I still was not prepared for this child. Everything was different than I even remember seeing other people with their children. But I learned. My mother taught me well and she showed me. She didn't just tell me. So I understood and learned a lot. By the time the second child came around, I was ready. And my mother was still there. And I still had a good support group to help me through everything. So I was happy. I love my kids. They love me back. They weren't raised to love me. I told them to worry about each other. If there was a fire, leave me alone. Take care of your brother. Get out. They told me, because I have other health problems growing up, they told me that I didn't raise them to love me. But now that they're grown, they don't have to do what I say. They love me because they love me. And I have nothing to do with that. This is what they feel. This is what they do.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Same question.
Um, yeah, I'm lost in grandma. I'm just like feeling all this love. And, okay, yes. Potentially what I thought a motherhood was supposed to. So, Tina, first child, I had this little beautiful little baby. First of all, She didn't come out like I thought. Yeah, nobody put me up on game. It was like, what? I don't even like her. Yeah, I meant the birth process. I was like, what just happened? Yeah, and that just threw me back. Like, you did this to me. So I was mad. But no, I got over it. But no, honestly, I didn't know. I didn't even have an idea. I was just out there finding my way, trying to be grown. I didn't even have a concept of it because I didn't even think that far ahead. And that's what I did learn. I just really didn't. I was just, it's just doing, trying to be grown. And found myself in grown up positions, but I handled it. I rose as much as I could to the occasion because, I didn't listen much. Nobody couldn't really tell me stuff, so I had to learn the hard way. But what did I think it was? Yes, exactly. Exactly that. Like you said, the TV shows. I mean, that's all I knew. I mean, I was in a family, but so expectation. What did I do with that? I did what I thought I did. I was responsible for the most part. I fed them. I cooked. They had a bedtime. They definitely got up, went to school. I did my job. Um, you know what I mean? So that I did what I was supposed to. I did it differently than I was raised. So that was different. But definitely, so raising them, it was a good thing. Being here, it's amazing. It was a good thought. I was afraid. I was anxious. I was afraid of the answers, the questions, and how I was supposed to respond. I'm typically pretty honest, brutally honest, in fact. However, it's just not everything ain't for everybody. Your children, they don't. I wasn't sure what they wanted to know, and I didn't know if I wanted to share, because you want to give them your best light, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I didn't have enough time to tell them all the stuff. Y'all didn't either. No, but no, it was a great experience. I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful. The one, yeah, my nieces, my daughters, they totally left me out the loop because they knew I couldn't handle it. They're like, don't tell her, just give her advance notice so she can mentally prepare. So I'm here, and I'm thankful. I'm grateful to share with. Look at the women who I aspire to be like. Not aspire, but in their own. Everybody brought something to me in my life. I didn't have much of a relationship, but what I have with my sister, so much she gave me, and there's some things I would do differently. So, and it's just you take what you learn from somebody and you grow with it, and she gave me the family aspect, the coming together, the being a good. I know you're rushing me. I ain't going nowhere, but anyway, I'm kidding. But just one more thing. Just remember one more thing, please, everybody. Just remember to be kind in any relationship. That goes so much for and respect. Respect yourself and respect others. Love you all. Have a good night.
Miss Charlotte, how did you feel about sharing your journey and leaving this legacy video for your family?
Bless. It was a great idea. I don't know who put it together besides Paris, but I'm thankful to Paris because it's wonderful. This is something that will be handed down that I will be remembered, but also some of the things about me, what my mother did, and the things that my mother would really love to have passed down will be passed down. Other generations will have something to hold on to, understand what the process is, and some of the things that happen in our lives that they can take with them or that they can change and bring in their own values and do better. The whole idea, do better. Thank you.
Same question, Miss Bessie. How did you feel about
Um,
creating this video?
I felt great about coming together with my sisters, friends, nieces, my daughters. I felt good. I was nervous about it because I had never experienced or even heard about a legacy. And I think it's a great idea that they pulled us together, and to me it was a success.
Yes.
I don't know, how everything came out with me, but I feel that I did my best.
Same question.
I was terrified. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified. I didn't know the questions. My oldest daughter says, "You have to be prepared." So I'm like, "What do I have to be prepared for? What is going on here?" And I know that I did say a lot of things in my questions and answer period that I had no intention of saying. And they kept saying, just be honest, don't be, just say what's in your mind. And when I started doing that, I felt okay, but it scared me at first. But I'm glad it was done because there's a lot of things that my grandchildren and my great grandchildren and my children that I'm happy to let them know how I feel about. And I'm sure we all said a lot of things that we had no intention of saying, but I'm glad we did it. I'm really glad we did it.